3, 2, 1. Stop nuclear testing. 3, 2, 1. Stop nuclear testing. How's the sound, person? Have we stopped nuclear testing yet? When do you think it's going to happen? You can't say that. This is a family show. Hi, my name's Jose. I want to welcome you to Politically Correct Cooking, a show about two of my favorite things, food and politics. Also, I want to welcome you to the Gay 90s. We're having fun and we're happy. Our guests tonight are two chairs from the March That Can't March Straight. Scout and Nadine, come on down.
Hey, Jose.
Hello.
Glad you could be here.
Thanks.
It was a great march, had a wonderful time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Now, being from the March That Can't March Straight, we have a vegetarian show. I'm looking at burgers. You guys can't cook straight either. What's the deal?
Hey, we're being tricky. These are veggie burgers.
Oh, they're veggie burgers.
All natural veggie burgers. Get them at your local store.
Okay. Well, that answers that question. We're glad you could be here. I know you all have had a really busy time bringing 1 million people into D.C. for human rights.
One at a time. On our backs.
One at a time.
So we're really tired.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But we're sleeping more now. We're fine.
Good. Okay. Well, we have veggie burgers, tomatoes. What do you want me to do?
Well, as Julie would say, I think you need to do the lettuce.
Okay.
You need to chop that tomato. You need to prepare those buns. And we
Well,
ready?
Scout, you've left nothing for yourself. How about you do the
I
tomatoes?
thought I'd stand here.
Okay.
You just stand there and look pretty.
Now, the March on Washington for lesbian, gay, and bisexual rights. 1 million people in D.C., you brought them all individually on your backs. How long does it take to organize an effort like that?
Well, actually, I guess generally everyone says 2 years in the making. But the idea of having a March on Washington had been floating around for a while, and finally a group of people got together and said, let's make it happen for real. So most of us have been involved for the past 2 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, there's some seriousness. A lot of us have been involved for 2 years trying to create an organization out of nothing so that we could bring all of these people around the country here and, have it be something where they didn't notice how much work went into making it happen because it was so perfect from their angle.
It was a great march. I've been to a lot of rallies and demonstrations in D.C. A lot of times, they're against a war or something. Everybody's very serious. Everybody's very quiet. The March on Washington, dancing, frivolity, laughter. Everybody was having a good time. I thought it was great.
Well, I think that upset me, actually. I was hoping for kind of a dour mood.
You must have been extremely upset.
Yeah, well, I was, but I mean, I revised my expectations late in the game, and I think it's, we're working for getting our civil rights, but on the other hand, everybody was obviously quite excited to have as many queers in town as there were that weekend when you live your life, mostly in a community that only has a couple queers here and there.
Well,
Plus, Jose, there were over 300 related events surrounding the march. So by the time Sunday rolled around, most people had probably cried all the tears we were capable of crying that week.
But if gays and lesbians get equal rights, then everybody else is going to want them too.
Crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, we're upset about that. We're hoping that only gays and lesbians and bisexuals and transgender can get equal rights. Everybody else can just stay where they are.
Oh.
Obviously, everybody else already has equal rights, and it's really, gays and lesbians are the only group I can identify that is specifically discriminated against, that does not have protection under the law right now.
That's why groups like the NAACP and a lot of religious groups that are tired of having religious terrorists and bigots defining the Christian agenda for them have stepped forward and joined us in the march.
There was a lot of co-sponsors from the religious community.
Oh, absolutely. The United Church of Christ.
And the traditional civil rights community.
Right, absolutely.
Was there any co-sponsors of the march that kind of came as a surprise, saying, wow, how did we get these guys or those guys or this organization?
Well, yeah, the librarians. They were pretty much a surprise.
Because no one had ever guessed there were any queer librarians.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Let me grab a plate for these tomatoes. And
You're slowing down, Jose.
I'm sorry. I'll definitely start to hustle some more here.
So why did you decide to come to the march? Can I ask?
I wanted to come to the march because all my friends were involved in it, and I was involved in the March for Gay and Lesbian Rights in 1987, and I had a really good time. And I was happy to see another march coming into town. Now, what I would say, the difference between this march and the march in '87 is that's okay.
I'll be right back.
This march and the march in 1987
Thanks.
was that in '87, I guess it was just like, we're coming out, we're here. This march here, it's like, we're here to stay now. It was very empowering, and I think it just sent a message to the American political scene that in the future, when you're dealing with issues, the gay and lesbian community has to be taken into consideration.
Absolutely.
Was that your feeling from the march, or?
Oh yeah, '87 is the reason I got involved in this one, and
I think it's the reason all of us did.
yeah.
I mean, it was very
And so
empowering.
not only was it incredible for the people there, but we were satellite beamed not just through C-SPAN, but we were fed all over the nation. So a lot of people who weren't there on the mall got to experience that incredible day.
Yeah, and I personally did these neat piece of interviews for Europe also, so who's to say who got impacted by this march happening? It was certainly plenty of people.
I bet those European interviews were pretty happening.
I got to say hello to all the ladies in Europe.
Okay.
Wishing I could go over and visit them.
Now,
I think, seriously, another thing about this would be that, we came hard on the heels of a presidential campaign where the gay and lesbian and bisexual and transgender vote was clearly identified as one of the influencing factors in getting Clinton in office. So, it kind of heralds a new era for gay and lesbian, bisexual, transgender political clout. And so it was important at the beginning of that to reinforce it with the numbers of people that we had there and, kind of the simple message we had to convey.
were there any, speaking of the political end of things, were there any endorsements from, like, gay Republican groups like Log Cabin or anything like that?
Yeah, the Republicans for Independent Thinking came aboard. It was, everyone from ACT UP to the Republicans was there.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
good.
Log Cabin was there, although they do not believe in protests, which I thought was interesting.
They didn't
still
endorse.
didn't want to miss this one.
Of course not. Who would?
Well, it was a heck of a good time on Sunday. Now, there was a lot of other associated events that you were talking earlier. One of the things I would like to ask you is about the pink triangle. A lot of people are seeing the pink triangle more and more often. Maybe we can get an idea of where it comes from some chairs here.
From some. Someone grab a couple of chairs.
Furniture, please.
Furniture, okay.
Well, the Pink Triangle is actually, one of the related events was the opening of the Holocaust Museum, which is quite appropriate because obviously gays and lesbians were targets of the Holocaust, and there were several thousand victims. And the Pink Triangle, like we see over here, was what was actually put on the uniforms of gay prisoners in the Holocaust concentration camps to identify them as being gay. And so obviously it's a very tragic reminder.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of tragedy.
Oh, tragedy.
Seems to be an earthquake.
That's
but a tragic
okay.
reminder of, how gays and lesbians are discriminated against and how that type of thing is actually still going on so many years after the Holocaust atrocities are generally, thought of as reprehensible by everybody else. I mean, we wouldn't think of discriminating against Jews or blacks the way the Holocaust did, but on the other hand, we still allow ourselves to discriminate against gays and lesbians like that.
Scout,
Watch
can you
out.
test that for me?
I've got a suntan. I'm fine here.
You want me to
You
turn
don't
it
need
off?
that on, though.
Actually, this one, I don't know how well this one's working. Oh, I see it's starting to bubble.
Okay, let's turn this one
It's
off.
starting to bubble.
I have a
Tragedy
question
in the
here, though,
making.
Nadine.
Talk to
This
me.
is a tough question here. I sliced my tomatoes different than Scout.
Well,
I'd
what's
say
your
that she's-
sexual orientation?
Oh, okay. So I guess it's okay then, depending. The tomatoes are fine.
Bulldyke tomato slicing right here.
Okay.
Straight
fine.
man tomato slicing, looking limp, looking peaked right there. There you go.
Looking peaked.
As a matter of fact, how are you going to get this on one bun? Do you think we could get it a little bit smaller?
Okay, we'll do that.
That's better. That's better.
Okay.
And I've got an extra onion. Do you mind if I cut this?
Please, I insist.
Thank you. Well, we had an interesting time. It was fun to be working on the march for this long, but I would have to say that it was, the payback was certainly wonderful. But the interesting part was that we didn't actually get a good idea of what the march was like for other people. And so we really do depend on people like you or other people to tell us, what it was like for them, because
People
most of the
just
time
like
we
you.
spend our time backstage or running from place to place, being kind of crazy maniacs the day up.
Well,
I'm just sorry Billy couldn't be here with us today.
I'm sad about that, too.
Billy's one of our other co-chairs.
Oh, well,
We miss you.
we'll save him a burger. How's
Okay.
that? Now, some of the goals of the march. I know that in a couple of states, specifically Colorado, passed a law basically just taking away constitutional guaranteed rights.
No,
Would that
actually,
be the same, or what happened in Colorado?
it was city rights. They passed a referendum that would rescind existing civil rights laws that cities had passed for gays and lesbians, and also prohibit future civil rights laws from ever being put on the books. So, what's that sound? So, basically what they did was they overturned Aspen's, Denver's, and Boulder's existing civil rights laws, and they stopped anybody else from passing new ones. So, whereas at one point in time you couldn't be discriminated against for being gay or lesbian in Denver, now you can again. You can, be kicked out of your job. You can be kicked out of your apartment, things like that, just because you're gay or lesbian. Which I think a lot of people don't realize.
They decided that straight people were more equal than others.
Exactly. And then they called it special rights, to have the ability to, have your job performance be based on your, ability as compared to your sexual orientation. That's what they called special rights.
Now, Oregon had that problem too, and I remember reading a couple of articles in the newspaper. There was a lot of violence involved.
Absolutely.
We can just put that right here. This is our little compost pile.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right there.
Could aerate it a little bit.
Yeah, violence has increased in the wake of these referendums everywhere. And not only Colorado and Oregon, but now Florida, Wisconsin, name almost any state in the union, and the right-wing religious terrorists are organizing to take away people's equal protection under the law based on sexual orientation there as well. So there's a lot of work to be done, and hopefully every person who was at that march or saw it on television or read about it will get involved in fighting back.
Well, I would have to say that the people who did show up to this march, say from Des Moines or Dubuque, whatever, rode the buses for 15 hours.
Those are the only two cities people came from, as a matter of fact.
The entire town showed up.
Yeah, the rest of the country was noticeably absent. Isn't it odd?
It's odd, but Iowa's got that reputation. Being someplace where you don't want them, or
Yeah,
being someplace where you need them, and they're not there. It would seem to me, bus rides back home, the energy level was so high inside the buses. Have you gotten any sort of feedback from other folks who have...
Is it time to go?
It's time to do those buns.
That's right.
Oh, excuse me, that tone of voice
those
I don't
buns.
think will be acceptable any longer.
Do those buns, Scott.
Do those buns.
Yeah, the energy level is sky high across the country, and we're just going to keep building on that.
Is there any other...
And you saw that after the '87 march, too. I mean, it was... People went back home and, they did everything from creating Latina softball leagues to, creating the first lobbying group in their state to, pass civil rights legislation.
Because I know, like, with ACT UP, I think ACT UP was just out in New York, and after the '87 march...
Excuse me, I'm having a catch-up episode.
After the '87 march, it was like ACT UP was even in Paris, probably
Oh, yeah.
even in Moscow.
87
But I'll tell you
gave
what,
birth
while you're
to
having your
hundreds of
catch-up
places.
episode, what we've got is a music video that our producer went out to the march, took
Oh my
all sorts of
gosh.
video, set it to music.
He said music, Scott.
Music. I just feel like dancing. What we're going to do is, while we're breaking these, we're going to be taking a break while we're cooking these burgers, and we're going to be doing some music videos. Okay.
Wahoo!
Take it away.
Move those hips, Scott.
Just dance.
Spending time nowadays by myself, that's so nice. And again with you, it's equal
Do you want to check it out? Let the cook check it out. She's the one who's doing all the work.
I've seen your
Let's
tomfoolery
leave that
before.
ketchup away, because it's exploding
Caution
ketchup.
on the ketchup.
Caution on the ketchup.
Now
So, what else was the march about?
Well, what else besides lesbian, gay, and bi equal rights? And it's important to stress equal rights because the right-wing nutcases are always trying to make it sound as though we're asking for
You're being harsh, aren't you?
special rights. Actually, I was being gentle. But this was about equal rights for everyone, not just for our community. And we got a lot of flack for the platform being too broad and talking about racism and sexism. But this is about equal rights for everyone, and whether this entire nation is going to stand up to the right wing, to the bigots, and to the terrorists, and say that bigotry, hatred, and anti-Semitism and discrimination against our community is not going to be tolerated anymore in this nation.
As well as discrimination against any community. I mean, all we're asking for is two huge words to be added to the existing anti-discrimination clause. The word sexual orientation. So as it says, we do not discriminate based on race, age, everything like that. Sexual orientation is added. That's all it is. It's being made into a much bigger deal than it really is.
Have either of you experienced, say, violence or anything like that?
Violence, hate. You know, when Alan Schindler was beaten to death by Navy shipmates, we understand that all of us are the target of that kind of hatred. I mean, that's why holding hands in public, you know, and being able to kiss your lover goodbye in the morning was so important during the week of the march. So, you know, whether or not all of us, I know I have faced discrimination daily, and the fact that private consensual relationship with another consenting adult is criminalized in most states in this country. Yeah, we've all faced discrimination.
And I also was
Plus,
part of... I also
you
was,
really have it tough because you're not only a lesbian, but you're also an African American and a woman and everything like that. So
and everything
what
like
are you
that.
complaining about? She's got it tough.
I realize I'm white. I'm
Shiny,
special.
shiny, we like to say.
Shiny.
So how are those burgers coming along?
Actually, they're turning into bricks. I think we're ready to lay
These
some.
buns are beautiful.
Well, we have beautiful buns here.
Beautiful and scary.
Why, thank you.
What was your most memorable moment?
Yeah, it's hard to choose just one, but probably riding around the streets of DuPont Circle at 4 o'clock in the morning, handing out march information to this huge crowd gathered in DuPont
From
Circle.
the top of a flatbed trailer.
From the top
With
of
a
the flat-
bullhorn.
Right, that's probably the best. All the
My
co-chairs
most
there.
memorable moment was the streets were empty because everybody was at the march. I mean, I was riding around on my bicycle while the march was going on, and this big limousine just pulled right out in front of me. It was Jesse Jackson. He almost ran me over.
I could guess.
Yeah.
You could have guessed. What was your most
He was
memorable?
gunning for you.
He was gunning for me. He hasn't been on the show, and that's the reason.
He feels upset.
Yeah.
I think my most memorable moment probably was, oh, it's so hard. We were so tired. It was hard to remember anything. But probably going up on stage and seeing how many hundreds of thousands of people were just, as far as your eye could
Massive.
see until haze, it was just people.
Ocean of humanity.
What's that smell?
Scout.
Billy!
Hey, Billy. We were just talking about you.
Billy. All
Billy,
right.
we missed you.
Come on
This
in
is
and...
Billy Hellman, one of our other national co-chairs.
Glad to have you on the show.
Hey there. And you know what else? This is the leather vest that went to the White House.
Oh,
That with
that
President
was the
Clinton,
one that was
yeah.
in the photograph.
Well, I mean, Billy was in it when it went to the White House.
But that's the leather
But
vest.
that's the leather vest.
Wow, that's great.
Billy,
well,
we got some veggie rocks for you.
Let me give you this set of buns here,
Uh-oh.
and we're
Okay.
going to let you be
I'll
our
just clear this
official
One set of buns.
taste tester.
Bring some more buns over here.
Okay, we got another set of buns coming your way.
Okay.
We're missing one bun.
Now, uh-oh.
Well, stay there, don't move.
No,
That's okay.
there's one.
We have a bun made already
a
right here.
plate.
Oh, okay.
Just grab a plate.
And I'm going to wait for
Wow,
Billy
Jose,
to
this
chip a
looks
tooth
fabulous,
first.
don't you think?
I think it looks great. Throw one of these bad boys on there.
Okay, there you go. Anybody want onions?
Throw one of those bad ladies on there. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
So how is it? Good. Now,
That's a bird.
Co-chair glue, the co-chair glue.
as a individual, say either gay, lesbian, or a person who supports human rights for all people, what can somebody do when there's like not a march going on to show their support or just to do something to make things better.
I think our communities have been great in doing a lot of things all throughout the years, and that's why this march was such an impact. I mean, people have been very experienced at lobbying at their state levels, and it's one of the things you should try and do now is write letters to your legislators. Work in your local arena to get, civil rights legislation passed for you. Work to get gay and lesbian or bisexual openly officials elected, open queer officials elected. And obviously go to Stonewall 25. I mean, it's coming up in a year, so that's really, really important. And that's going to be a demonstration for civil rights worldwide, not just nationwide. So that'll be a fun time, but also another chapter of the civil rights movement of our country.
Well, I found that these burgers are great.
They're the best part.
They are the best part. And I had a wonderful time.
The march pales by comparison.
The march pales by comparison.
It's the first meal we've had in 2 years.
I know, I would have to agree.
You all have been working so hard, and I know how those marches do it. So what is, now that you have your mouths full, what's next on the agenda for all of you? Are you all from the local areas? Does the march continue?
Pittsburgh, Tampa, Chicago. And no, please, let this march end, please. We're actually still working in the national office, but we hope it'll be over with pretty soon. And then we're going to go on to the same type of organizing that we've been doing all around the country already.
So was the munchies that they served at the White House better than these? Or?
No.
These are number one?
This pales in comparison.
Okay.
I mean, whoops. Vice versa.
Vice versa? Okay.
Freudian slip there.
Well,
Freudian
I just want to let everybody out in the viewing audience know that they're missing quite a treat. Better than White House food. Is that right?
Oh, definitely.
Notice how happy and eager these burgers are being eaten. Grab this ketchup explodes.
Actually, notice how all you have to do is give us free food, and we're there.
Everybody's happy with free food. Once again, thank you for being able to find time to come by and enjoy some burgers.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful time knowing about what's going on. We hope that the Stonewall events turn out to be as successful as the March on Washington that you all were involved with. Once again, thanks again, and going back to eating my burgers.
C'est the liver. Happy Mother's Day.
I'm almost done.